Welcome back, Rankers. Big day today, 1st of March 2012. It is the day that the new Google policy comes into effect. What is the new Google policy? Well, if you haven't heard about it, you're probably not even watching the show and you're probably not online, because if you have a Google user account for Gmail or YouTube or any one of their myriad of other services out there, you would have seen a pop-up over the last month. They've been warning you that the new policy changes are about to come into effect. And basically all the Google services used to all have their individual policies, because remember, a few of these like YouTube and stuff, they were all acquired by different companies and all the rest of it. They're bringing them all under the one policy. And why they're doing this is because they're going to unify their products even more closely. And they want to provide more relevant user results. And that means, basically, is sure, they're going to try to provide more relevant search results in things like YouTube and Google itself, Google search, but also, of course, relevant ads. Now, a lot of people have said, this is an invasion of privacy, this is a disaster, this is... Well, look, if you're using a service like Google or Facebook or any of these other monolithic services, Twitter even, if you're using these services and you're getting all this stuff for free and you're not paying for it at all in any way, shape and form, guess what? You're not the customer, okay? You are the product being sold. It's as simple as that. So if you go into this with that mindset and that reality, then you can make some informed decisions about what sort of information you want to share online. I'm always going into that situation, since I've been online, looking at a certain service, whatever it is I'm using, and thinking, how much data do I want to give away here if it's a free service? That is my cost. And for the most part, I always take the attitude of assuming that someday someone, somewhere, is going to have a look at this piece of data that you've put online, regardless of whatever policies and things that are in play now. If you take that attitude into using any of these big services, then you start to guard your privacy a little bit more. In fact, I very rarely use Facebook anymore for a number of those sorts of reasons. So, what is something that you can do? Well, one of the things that you can do today, if you want, is turn off your web history. What's that I hear you say? What's my web history? A lot of people don't even know about web history. Let's go and have a look at it. If you go to google.com/history, and you will get to this little screen. Now, I've turned it off and on a couple of times today. Other than that, I've never had it on because I've always found that it doesn't give me great results. The idea behind web history is that Google will look at the sites that you visited in the past and think, well, you've done that search again, probably want to see that page again, right? So we'll go to the web history, grab it out, and there you go. That's not always really helpful. You can hit a link in Google search, go to a page, and I've had this happen to me. And this is the classic example where it happened to me. It was in personalized results, and admittedly personalized results was probably new at the time. But I was doing a search for the word flowers because we had a large online floral service at the time. And I got a personalized result, and this is when Google was searching Twitter, from Malcolm Turnbull in my results, who is an Australian politician, by the way. Because I happen to follow him on Twitter, as I do a lot of politicians, on both sides of the house. And he had mentioned something in a tweet about it would be like flowers blooming and blah, blah, blah. Totally useless result for me. So that's just personalised history. That isn't even personalised results based on who I followed in Twitter. Nothing even to do with web history. So I've seen the same thing happen in web history. You might have clicked on a link, hit a page. You may have stayed there for some reason because you switched tabs or switched applications or the phone rang or whatever. Google sees you've stayed on that page for 5 minutes and decides that you really love that page, right? Because you stayed there for so long. So next time you do that search, even though that page may have been totally irrelevant, it'll come up in search again. Useless. So, that's why I have turned off web history. Now, if it's not useful to me personally, then I don't know how much use it's going to be to advertisers, but that remains to be seen. To turn it off, well, let's just turn it on. And interestingly, because once you turn web history on, you cannot actually stop it. You can only pause it, which is interesting. It's like this psychological thing, Google saying, you know, it's always going to be here. You may as well unpause it. You may as well resume it. Very annoying. Look, and how this data is going to be used is, and I'll just refresh this page. And we'll just go to another link and see if we can, nothing there yet. Okay, so let's go to travel on this is a West Australian site, which happened to do a story. We'll visit a couple of pages here. Okay, now we will go back to our web history. Still nothing there. Probably have to log out and log on. But you'll see a whole bunch of pages. And if you had it switched on from the start, and you may have had it switched on from the start, because when you set up your Gmail account, it would have said, hey, you want personalised web history? It's going to be good. You're going to love it. And they did a really hard sell on it in the text. But unfortunately, the way web history is going to be used is going to be that you'll be on YouTube. And it'll be like, you'll have a guy come and say, hey, saw you had some emails about horses. We've got videos about horses. Want to watch them? And that's how it's going to be used. I'm not a big fan of that. But I don't get hot under the collar saying it's the end of the world or Google is evil. You can simply just remove all your web history by clicking that button, clicking OK. Web history is gone. And you may want to go and have a look at that anyway, because if you didn't know it was there, pretty soon most of your family, friends, employers are going to know it's there. And if you happen to be the sort of person that does auto login to your Google accounts, anybody can actually look at that. So that's the way it's going to work. That's how you basically minimize your exposure, if you like, to Google sniping algorithms that are coming after you, showing you their ads. And look, I don't mind relevant advertising. Let's face it. How much of the advertising on television is relevant to you? How much of the advertising on radio is relevant to you? How much of the advertising on billboards outside is relevant to you? A very small percentage. So I don't mind using a product and not paying for it with the assumption that I'm going to get some relevant ads, and that's how the business makes their money. I'm okay with that. That's it for today's show. See you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.